What's up, guys, and welcome to the Bearded Jeeper podcast. On this episode, we talk to the Midwest Jeeper about garage upgrades, YouTube secrets, and products made in the US of A. What's up, guys, and welcome to the Bearded Jeeper podcast. Today, our guest is the Midwest Jeeper himself, Brian. What's going on, Brian?
Not much. Yourself?
Oh, doing good. Been a busy week at work.
I hear that. It's been pretty busy between work, home, and we just got a new puppy last night and had to drive 3 hours round trip to pick the dog up from up north. So,
Oh, nice. What kind of dog?
it's a Bernedoodle. So it's a Burmese, I always say Burmese mountain lion, but it's a
Mountain lion.
Burmese mountain dog and then a poodle. So they're really hypoallergenic because my wife is pretty much allergic to a lot of animals, especially
Oh, yeah.
cats. I always joke around, and I'm not a big fan of cats anymore like I used to be when I was a kid, but I always joke around and be like, you know what? If I really wanted to kill my wife, I would just go buy me a herd of cats and that would be done. So, but she knows I hate cats, so I'm not worried.
Yeah, my wife's actually allergic to cats too. But she had cats growing up and she was always just kind of like sniffly and stuff. But I think her new allergy medicine seems to help quite a bit with that.
Well, that's good.
Yeah, it's like night and day. She used to go through like an entire box of tissues like every 2 days. And now it's like she hardly uses them.
Sounds like somebody needed to buy stock in the Kleenex.
Exactly, especially nowadays.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. And pallets of toilet paper.
Yes, that's true.
I always joke around with the kids. Oh, Dad sneezed. We got to go buy a pallet of toilet paper.
Yeah, it's becoming more readily available, I've found, in at least the Walmart kind of areas.
Oh, yeah. But they still limit how many pallets you can buy.
Yeah. So for those who may not know you and may never have watched your YouTube videos or anything, kind of give a brief introduction to yourself, like what you do, what your Jeep's about, companies you've worked with, that kind of thing.
Sure. So kind of going back a little bit, back in high school, I had a buddy of mine who had a Jeep, and I can't remember which year it was. It's been so long that he really got me into it. As I got older, I ended up doing like my parents had an old 79 Bronco, and then I had a Blazer, and then I kind of got away from that stuff. But recently, as I'm in my 40s now, that midlife crisis kind of creeped in. And I told my wife, I think it was 3 years ago that I've got my 2009 Jeep Wrangler Unlimited JK. I said, hey, I'm going to be working a poop ton of overtime and I really want to get a Jeep. My wife was a bit on the fence. I bought it. I actually drove to Madison, Wisconsin. I live in Wisconsin, and drove about an hour one way, test drove it. And I said, this is the Jeep that I want. Even though it's nearly 10 years old, it has limited rust underneath the frame and it was one owner. So what was nice is that person lived in Wisconsin but kept the vehicle maintained. So it didn't look like 10 years at all when you looked at the frame. Now it definitely looks like a little bit more beat up. So I need to get underneath there and do some stuff. But I bought the Jeep essentially on site, drove it maybe 20, 30 minutes, bought it, brought it home, did a couple of little things like any Jeeper does. And then my wife drove it one time because we were over by some friends, had a couple of drinks, and I'm like, here's the keys. We had the roof off, and she's like, oh my gosh, I love it.
She was sold after that, huh?
Yeah, I mean, she doesn't, if I ever get rid of this one, she's like, we got to buy another one. I was a little reserved. I almost bought an Overland Gladiator last year.
Ooh.
And my wife's like all gung ho for it. And I was like, yeah, I don't know if we want to make, do the payments and stuff.
Yeah, that's a big payment on those.
Yep. So I said, you know what? Let's take the Jeep that we've got now. Originally I was going to go for overlanding. And then I kind of got away from that. And recently I told my wife, hey, this is a family vehicle. It's not just mine. I want to do trips. We were originally supposed to go out to the Badlands last year. We had an air conditioner that finally died, so I had to cancel that trip, do adulting. Owning a Jeep is like owning a house. There's always something.
Always something. Just
Always.
empty every pocket.
Yeah. So I said, this year, hey, let's start working on getting the Jeep to a point where we can have nice travels when we're traveling out. We still want to go to the Badlands. I really just started off-roading last weekend with it, which was a lot of fun. But I want to get it to the situation as I'm not getting any younger, so I want to have a comfortable ride when I'm driving down the highway. Definitely want something where you're not constantly feeling those bumps and thinking your kidneys are going to just jump out and go, I'm done. And then, something nice on the trail to handle it. So I actually bought the more recent, or they were delivered this week, the Falcon piggyback adjustable shocks, the 3.3 series. So I
Oh,
still
those
got to
are
install those.
amazing shocks.
They're not cheap,
No.
but everybody's been telling me how well they work on road, off road, plus a quick switch. So we're trying to set the Jeep up for off road, a little bit of overlanding, and some family, trips kind of deal to really make it. So originally, when I started my YouTube channel, I was like 2 years ago, I think we're coming up on. I was just more focused on doing install videos, and because everybody was doing that. But as I got to the point, I'm kind of like, you know what? Install videos are cool. I'm more of a detail oriented kind of guy. So if I see video that I create, our content, and it doesn't meet my standards, then I scrap it because I don't feel like I've really actually shown the detail that I need to install, a component.
Right, right.
And I got bored with that. And I got frustrated with myself because I've got all this content and it just, if I slam it together, it's just going to look like crap. And I really don't want to put crap out there. And I know you're big on, hey, get the content out there regardless of what it is. But I've got to live up to my expectation. I mean, I don't want to go full blown crazy, with some of these, but I want to be able to show kind of the meat and potatoes of the situation. So I'm moving away from more of the install stuff, and I'm going to be doing some of the install. I got a bunch of stuff that I need to install, but it's not going to be really in depth. I want to move over to more off-road video vlogging, kind of like KC250 does. I
Right.
like
Yep.
how he's got his stuff set up because that's what really people want to see, because everybody does install videos, and that's awesome. There are some people out there that do great install videos. I mean, you've got Ben over at JK Gear and Gadgets. He does a great job with it. And you know what? If there's something I'm going to install and it's in great detail, I'm just going to find a video that I really like that I think is perfect and just link to it, because you know what? They've got a better video already out there. There are definitely some videos when you find them, you're like, huh, that's probably the crap I would have made.
Yeah, and a lot of people don't realize that it takes so much work to do an install video. Like what would normally be like a half hour install could take you up to 2.5, 3 hours doing a video, because you're changing the angle for every different shot. You're adjusting the exposure, maybe the focus, like zooming in, zooming out, and then you have to edit it all. Like it's a lot
Yep.
of work.
And then what's even worse is you thought you grabbed a shot, but you forgot to record. I've done that.
Then you either have to repeat it, or if it's something you can only do once, you're screwed.
Yep, you are. You're done at that point. So I had a number of those situations and I was like, this is too much. It's too stressful. I don't like doing this. So I just bought a pre-owned GoPro from Amazon,
Yep.
the GoPro 7. And I like the small footprint because I can get it into different locations. Because the camera that I was using, I actually have it right here, is an old school Canon camera.
That's
And
like
this
old
thing is
school, like
not
home movie
easy.
camcorder right there.
Yeah, it's not easy to get into some of those spots.
Yeah.
It's just not. Where a GoPro, because of how the footprint is, it's so much nicer. You can get 4K video. That only does 1080p.
Yep.
And I can use it on the trail. I can use it under the Jeep instead of going, okay, how do I position this thing just right? Where's the other? I've got another. It's it's right here. Oops. So this tripod right here, it's nice for a GoPro. It is not nice for a big old camcorder.
Yeah, that looks like almost a knockoff of the Joby Gorilla Pod. It's like
Yep.
a cheap plasticky kind of thing.
So I was like, I don't want to do that. I keep bumping my mic, so I'm gonna try to move it farther away. Um, but yeah, I haven't really done any videos as of late. I think the last video I did was like 2 months ago. Now with the GoPro, I'm gonna start making, simple videos that hopefully they're only going to be like, you know, 5 to 15 minutes when it comes to like install stuff. The
Right.
extreme will be 15, depending upon how many components it is. And with those videos that I'm making, a lot of the stuff, or I should say, a lot of the components that I get, because I have a partnership or a sponsorship with extremeterrain.com, where over the last 2 years, they've been sending me a lot of their private label products to install on my Jeep and create an installation guide, which is nice because what I like about it is I'm very detail orientated, and they've noticed that. They're like, wow, this is really some of the higher quality installation guides. Even the installation guides that I've done a few in the past that didn't really meet up to my potential, but they're like, oh, these are still great, keep sending them. And so I've been doing that with them for 2 years now. It's been awesome. But I've got those piggyback shocks. I'm going to be doing an installation guide for their customers to use. They go out to the actual product page, they can see install, and they click on it, and it's step-by-step instructions. Everything is not 100% because every situation is different.
Right.
Like recently, I did the Raxium controller where it's kind of like the S-Pod. So I ended up putting the breaker box on an aluminum plate that's near the actual battery versus screwing it directly to the body of the Jeep. So that's a little different. So I show that, hey, you don't have to do exactly what they always say within the instructions. Some people are like that. They look at an instruction, it's like, oh, I've got to do it this way.
Yeah,
But
have to follow it to the T, but
right.
A lot of them kind of leave some room for personal modification.
Yeah, because not every situation is going to be the same. I mean, there's stuff where it's like, you know what, I like it this way because whatever reason it is, that's how I want to do it. It's easier for me to access it this way, and that's what I'm going to do. And I think, a lot of people that I've met, whether like yourself and some other people, via Instagram, they do it that way. But I've known people in my past, like they freak out. They want it done exactly the same. And I kind of started doing that when I was first building my Jeep, putting the components like, oh, it's got to be done, this way. And I'm like,
it's almost like you don't want to screw it up at first too. So you want to do it like by the book. So it turns out exactly as they have it pictured. But any install you do never turns out as good as they have it from the factory picture that they modeled up to look extra super good.
Well, not only that, it's like it just took me an hour to do this, and it kind of looks like it's functional, it's going to work. It's like, did it take them 4 hours to do that?
Yeah,
to make those pictures? And some of those installation guides that some of the products that I've purchased myself from other vendors, Amazon, Quadratect, and other websites that I've gone to, when you get some of those installation guides, you look at them like, holy cow, this is awful. Why even waste the time to do it this way?
Yeah.
Because the step-by-step instructions just look like garbage. And that's where, I like when I come in, it's like, I want to be able to look at instructions and go, this is like 99% between there of instructions where people can look at it and go, okay, I can do these steps. Not look at the instruction and go, what the crap? I've had so many products like that. I just drives me crazy. So along with extremeterrain.com, I actually have Moose Knuckle. Got the hat on right now. They've got the nice shackle that looks like testicles, as they put it. So those things are pretty neat. I've got them actually on all four corners of the Jeep, and I have not used them yet, which is one of those things where it's good because you haven't gotten stuck that
Right,
you
right.
had to use them. So that's where the positive is. I have not personally trail tested them, but they're there for me to, use if need be.
Yeah, I've definitely been seeing a lot more of them. And I almost want to say on another podcast, I heard something about one of the reasons they kind of came up with the moose knuckle is because people were running those truck nuts, little hitch things, and
Yep.
somebody didn't like it or something. So they,
Government.
oh, was it the government that?
A lot, I don't know all the states, but a very large majority of the 50 states do not like them, that they've banned them
Why?
because it's like inappropriate showing a body part.
Huh. Then what
I
about all those naked statues they have in the middle of towns and stuff?
So I guess Florida is definitely, because that's where the company is based out of.
Yeah.
They've got a law that as soon as they see those on them, I don't know how much the ticket is, but they ticket you for it for indecent kind of exposure because they resemble so closely to male testicles that they freak out over it. So
So is it
whatever.
worse if you go through a school zone or something then?
I have no idea.
Indecent
Well, we're not going to
exposure.
bust you for drinking and driving, but those testicles on your truck,
They gotta go.
you're screwed.
That's just too funny.
So I don't know. It's weird stuff, but yeah, I've tried to work with some other companies in regards to um, sponsorships. Some of them they have requirements. Like one company, actually, two of them I've talked with. You have to have a minimum of 3,000 followers, and it doesn't matter which social media.
Yep.
But as soon as you have 3,000 followers, they're happy to send you the product to review and test out and give your feedback to your community, but you have to meet that requirement. Other companies, when they're starting off, they're so small that they really want brand awareness. And that's where it came into play with me with Moose Knuckle, is they really want to get their product out there and known. You still have to have a good following of individuals. You can't just, oh, I've got 20, followers, send me some free product. They're going to be like, you're lucky if 2% are your 20 followers like your stuff.
Yeah, I think a lot of people too kind of, as far as sponsorships go, kind of go at it the wrong way. They're just always out there looking for free products and saying, hey, X company, give me your product for free. I'll make a video of it or something. But they don't realize what the company's doing when they're offering you free product. They're really trying to promote their brand and have growth. So it's more
Right.
about what you can offer the company rather than what you're getting out of it. I personally kind of attack it as I want to be able to try to provide them with more value than I get out of it. So like if they send me a free product and they're like, hey, we just want a small video of it, I'll try to do a video of it. I'll try to do like Instagram posts about it. I'll try to do a bunch
Yeah.
of stuff. And especially if the company is really easy and well to work with.
Right. And then the other thing is, you just don't want to go find a random company and say, hey, give me free product. I'll share it. And you don't like the product.
Yeah, and I've had companies reach out to me before too, and say, "Hey, can I send you a product?" And I'll say, "Yeah, but I'm going to give you an honest review of it. If I don't like it, just be aware I'm going to put that out there and tell what I think of it." Because that's the worst thing is to have some of these people just kind of go out there and say, "Hey, this product's great. You should buy it." Then you turn around and buy it, and it's a crappy product. That's just steering people in the wrong direction.
Oh, yeah. Do you want to know something really awesome? So I no longer have Facebook. Facebook is overly toxic now. It's always been toxic, but right now it's ridiculous. So I would see these ads for these companies saying that we'll give you the free product if you give us 5 stars on Amazon. So I
Yep.
was like, hey, I'll take advantage of it. And I did that with a lot of product for, I would say, a good 6, 8 months. And some of the products, they were okay, But to get my money back, I had to give them a 5-star.
Huh.
So I really didn't like that. I started getting some really funky stuff. I mean, in the beginning, I was getting decent product that I would say maybe wasn't 100% 5-star. It was more of like a 4. But to get my money back, I just fine here's a 5-star. But towards the end, I started getting some really bad, not so good stuff. And
Just
the only
junk.
way, yeah. And some of the stuff, I just sent it back. I didn't even tell them. I told them, hey, I don't like your product. I can't give you a 5-star. It's going back to Amazon. Amazon's going to refund me, and this is how it is. And the kicker is Amazon at that time was starting to crack down heavily. I don't know if they're doing it still, but my account got flagged
Oh
to the
wow.
point where they took down a very large number of my reviews that I gave 5 stars, and they were legit 5-star products because they did exactly what I wanted them to use them. And I was
You're
like, you know what?
basically getting paid to
It's a
give
paid
a
review.
5-star review.
Yep. So I was like, nope, I don't want to do this anymore because even though I do find the product useful and I think it's a 4 or 5 star,
Yep.
it's like I'm betraying other people that are out there.
And the reason they do it on Amazon is a lot of them will have you buy it, so it's a verified purchase, and then they'll send you money via PayPal or whatever.
Yeah,
So
I mean
that way you get it
that's
for
what they were
free.
doing.
Yeah.
And I did a bunch of product. I got some good stuff. I'm not going to say that everything that they sent me was trash. I would say 90+% of the stuff was good. I still use it today. I had a flip out razor blade that's interchangeable. That's awesome. I still use it today. And a matter of fact, that's in my trail bag. So when I'm on the trail, if I need to cut something, plus I've got an actual knife in there too. But it's stuff that I'll use. Other stuff, I don't even want to talk about it because it's not good stuff. And I did send some product back, and I'm not going to lie because it was garbage.
Yeah, I think people need to kind of be aware of those kind of scams that are going on out there. And uh, like a lot of new YouTubers, they see, oh, hey, I'm going to get this product and it's like a sponsorship or whatever. And then they try to make a video. And like you said, Amazon will flag your account because
Oh yeah,
it's against their policy.
yep. And it wasn't a hard flag because I've heard of other ones actually having their accounts like they were banned from Amazon.
Oh, yeah.
So I got flagged to the point that they ripped down what was it, 5 or 6 reviews,
Wow.
and then they wouldn't let me do reviews on other products that I actually legitly bought.
That's
And I want to
crazy.
say that was about a month that I wasn't able to. So after that whole fiasco, I'm like, no, it's not worth it. Not worth my time. So anybody out there thinking that that's cool, if there's product out there, there's a couple products, you can do it. But as soon as you start doing a high volume of it, your 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 account's going to get flagged, and you're just going to have more. And I'm a Prime member, so that makes it even worse. If they ban your account, I paid that $100.
Yeah, I'm a Prime member as well, and I use Amazon affiliate marketing, so I get a percentage of sales that I link to in my YouTube videos or something, and
Yeah.
that started making me a decent chunk of change every month. So I
So
don't want
why
to see that.
jeopardize that?
Yeah, I wouldn't want to see that go away because the more money I make and can put into the channel, the better the videos get, the more stuff I can review, stuff like that.
Yeah, I mean, I've had a few companies, the Chinese vendors. I mean, my past life, I negotiated pricing with China.
Yep.
Okay, a lot of people are against China, and I get it, totally understand. I prefer to buy U.S. based product, but you're going to pay for U.S. based product because it's just going to be more expensive, even though it's domestic. But in most cases, you get a better quality product. There are Chinese vendors that provide a superior product that's comparable and in some cases better than US based. And I know I'm going to get a lot of crap for saying that, but I've seen it. But if you've got, these fly by night companies trying to send stuff out, and that happens way too often.
Yeah.
And if it's something like shackles, I had a
Oh
company
yeah.
send me shackles. I mean, there isn't much really, with shackles until you start using them. And those things rusted so fast. I had them on the Jeep for not even a month, and they were rusted so bad. It was awful.
Yeah, and I see a lot of companies that are supposedly U.S. based, but then they they get all their products or pieces of their kit or whatever they're putting together from Chinese vendors overseas because it's cheaper,
Yep.
and they just assemble it here. I think
Yes.
now they're required to put like assembled in the USA instead of like,
With global parts.
yeah, with global parts. Yeah, that's how they word it now.
I had a lot of samples sent to me one time, and we were going through the box, and a bunch of the stuff said "Made in the USA." We're like, "What?" So we reached out to the vendor, and we're like, "This stuff says Made in the USA," and they're like, "Yeah, but it's made here." So you've got manufacturers, or I should say, companies out there, sadly, telling these manufacturers in China to put "Made in the USA," and they're not.
That's just not
It's
right.
it's horrible. I mean, I had a whole box, and I would say nearly the entire box said "Made in the USA," and it was Chinese made. You gotta be careful. I mean, it happens on both sides. I mean, you've just there's garbage product out there. I mean, I have this partnership with Extreme Terrain, and they have some of their products are definitely made in other countries. Terraflex. I've got Terraflex products, and some of their stuff is made in other countries. However, the difference between having stuff like that made in another country is they have standards that they have to meet,
Yeah.
and those standards are required. Terraflex has standards. ExtremeTerrain.com with their private label stuff, they have standards that they have to meet. When they bring that stuff over here, it's going to happen. There's going to just be global stuff, created everywhere. And I'm okay with that as long as they meet the standards that I require, to place on my vehicle.
Right. And a lot of these companies, they'll get certain parts or pieces from overseas, but they'll test it, make sure it meets their specs,
Yep.
and put it together with the rest of the stuff and then send you your kit. So it's not like you're just getting junk that's not tested or anything. You're actually getting a good quality product. It's just
Yeah.
not 100% made in China and or not 100% made in the US. And that way they can keep the cost down so you're not paying as much.
And there's nothing wrong with, keeping the cost down. I mean, that's the big thing these days. People want everything for cheap, but it's you pay for what you get or you get what you pay, kind of situation. If you want something super cheap, you're just going to get a cheap product that's not going to last.
Yeah, it's hit or miss too, though. Sometimes I've seen cheap products outlast expensive products. It's
Oh,
really
yeah.
sometimes it is pay what you get, or you get what you pay for.
Yeah, I know. I get goofed up all the time on that. But it's
Yeah,
like, yeah, I mean, it's amazing. Just it's that mindset of if you want to put a product on your Jeep and you're truly going to be on the trail, whether it's hardcore trails or even simple trails that you just want to run every now and then, research the product, understand that the product may or may not 100% be built in the US, but also check out other individuals' reviews and previews and see, is it going to meet your expectations?
right.
I have a lot of Barricade and Red Rock 4x4 products on my Jeep. I like this stuff. I also have, and this is unfortunate, I have a rough country um, stubby bumper. I like the bumper. That thing's already bolts and everything are starting to rust.
Uh,
And it stinks. I want to take it off. I want to have somebody, take all of the powder coat off and repowder coat it and use it. But I've got to do it sooner than later, or it's just gonna, the whole thing's gonna just look like crap. And by the time they take all the powder coating off and repowder coat it, it's like, is it really going to be worth my time and my money and my investment?
I'm
So,
actually not a huge fan of powder coating. I know some people are, some people aren't. And my theory is you're going to scratch it up if you're going off road anyway. And it's
yep,
much easier to touch up like paint or bed liner or something.
yep,
It would be to touch up any other kind of coating.
yeah. And I've got the rough country front interliner fenders,
Yep.
and now with putting on these new piggyback Falcon shocks, I can't use them. They're great interliner fenders. They're
Yep.
like $180, and they were worth every penny, but they're not going to work because of that additional reservoir. So I ended up purchasing a Nemesis
Oh yeah,
inliner
I've seen
fenders,
those. Yeah.
and I ended up just going with the bare fenders. I'm just going to paint them, or I might get a can of bed liner and just do it because I know they're going to get nicks and stuff. Plus, they were cheaper, and it's just going to make it easier for me if I've got to do some of the repair. Eventually I want to do a whole bed line. I want to bed line the entire Jeep, and then inside as well, because I've got the tan interior, which
Yep.
is not that common. When you got the darker colors of the JKs, like in the early 2000s, mine's a 2009, the interior was generally always black or gray. But
Yeah,
I've got the
mine's
tan
like a
interior.
dark gray or black. Mine's a 2010.
Yep. So I if I bedline the inside of it, I'm actually going to go with the tan to try to match that color because it's unique.
Oh, that would be pretty neat.
So, um, so I guess let's talk about my real first off-road adventure that happened
Yes.
last weekend.
Yes, let's talk about it. How was it?
So
Where'd you go?
it it was awesome. So I've had a few of my buddies locally. They tell me how my Jeep was just a mall crawler. Yeah, I had it off a little bit. Not anything extreme. It was definitely, you could classify it more of a mall crawler, but now it's not
Now
because I
you've
went on some
officially been
trails.
off road. You'd hit some rocks, hit some water
I
puddles.
did I did a lot of crazy stuff. Oh my gosh. More stuff than I expected to do. And my son, he's 12 and he came with me and we did the weekend. But it's called Camp Sinawa in Manitowoc County in Wisconsin. They've got a private trail. I'm actually a member of the Road Legal 4-Wheel Drive Club, and it's one that you have to be a member to use because it is a private trail.
Right.
So it was the weekend. This is for beginners to go on. So the website for the club is rl4wd.com. And we went to Camp Sinawa. We went on the trail and it was bonkers. I've got video that I still need to go through and edit. So hopefully within the next, I wanted it this weekend, but life happens, unfortunately. And so we get on the trail, we start doing this stuff. We went through a little bit of water, and the president, Ryan, he's like, you're going to go through water. You're going to end up submerging your axle. You're going to want to make sure that you change out the diff fluid, because when the vehicles get hot, some of that stuff can just seep in, through the seals, even if it's a really good seal.
Yep.
So we definitely went through some high water, and it was awesome. I had the water spraying up past the tires up front. My son had the GoPro outside the vehicle, and I ran through one of them real fast, and he's just like, whoa, and he's pulling the camera back in. I'm like, hey, it's waterproof. It's fine. We're good. But when I got to those, so my Jeep has a leveling lift kit. It's got the Terraflex Pro leveling lift kit. So I get 2 inches in the front, I get 1 inch in the back, and it's good for me. I like it. I've got a lot of clearance. I mean, eventually I want to go to a 2.5 inch lift. But for what we did, it was great because we went on the trails that were kind of like the 3. And then later on, we ended up going on like 6. And I was expecting to kind of get stuck. I was like, all right, I'm going to start using all this recovery equipment because I don't have lockers. It's just a Sport or an X model.
Yep.
I made it through so much stuff. It was mind blowing. Did I do some bypasses? Absolutely. Because some of the stuff I was like, I just got this Jeep back from being fixed again. I'm not doing that.
Yeah, no.
I don't have the clearance that I really want, but there was those points where you're going through and you come down hard on stuff and you hear the bang and you're like, okay, that's a diff cover. All right, that's a heavy duty diff that I've got on there. And then you hear a bang and you're like, all right, that sounds like the transfer skid plate. And then you bang something else and you're like, oh, that's the rock sliders. And then you hit something else and you go, oh God,
I don't know.
the oil pan. I was so terrified. I was like, I'm going to totally poop myself right now because that's the oil pan. I'm going to be stuck out on the trail, in the woods, in high water.
I'll tell you what, those oil pans take a hell of a abuse. Mine has like a a 2.5 inch indent in the bottom of it from hitting it so much, and I daily drive mine. So
Really? That's awesome.
yeah, it
But
holds up.
I got home after that, and after cleaning all the mud off, which took me forever, and I actually did it in a thunderstorm last Sunday, trying to get all the mud that was caked underneath out. I went online right away and I started looking at skid plates for the oil pan. I'm like, I don't want to be on the trail ripping something. So I ended up going with the Rubicon Express, which I got to install this weekend. I'm like, I got it from Off Road Elements. I've actually been talking with the guys over at Off Road Elements and working with them. So it was pretty cool.
Yeah, they're really
Um,
good people there. I was a brand ambassador for them for a little bit, and
oh, okay.
I've wheeled with them several times. Eric and Jill are really good people to talk with.
Yeah. And, a couple of times they reached out to me and they're like, hey, you're looking for these parts. And I, told them, hey, I have other sponsors or vendors that I've been working with, but
Yeah,
if you can meet their price or beat their price kind of deal, I may go with you. But I'm one of those individuals that I don't want companies fighting over each other.
yeah.
I'm getting too old for that garbage. Plus, then everybody has a bad experience. Nobody wants to work with you at that point. So there was a couple of things that they had that I couldn't get because they're heavily on back order, and that skid plate, that Rubicon oil pan skid plate, is on back order. I ordered it from one vendor, thought it was going to be shipped out the next day, and then in bold lettering, back ordered by vendor. And I was like, great, I need to
You couldn't have
cancel
told me
this.
that before I went to click order.
Right. So then I started finding out other vendors online. Everybody's saying that it's back ordered, except for Off Road Elements had 3 in their warehouse. So I
Yep.
was like, okay, I need this.
Yeah, that's the one good thing, and they do a lot of drop shipping and stuff too. So
Yep.
they can and they have a lot of good relations with a lot of the companies in the industry. I know I've gone wheeling with them and the people from Rock Crawler before, so they've made a lot of great connections. So they can typically get stuff at like the same price as the lowest price, or sometimes even better, and they'll ship it right to your door really fast. I know they've saved me a couple of times having to overnight a tie rod because I needed it fixed so I could drive the Jeep again, and they got
That's
it
awesome.
overnighted. Yeah,
Yeah, no, the gentleman I was speaking with through Instagram, I said, hey, thanks for hanging in there, because there was a bunch of times that he was trying to work with me and it really wasn't, coming in at the right price, kind of deal. Even though the amount of money we spend on our Jeeps, a lot of people would basically fall over and die because of the amount of money. We still got to figure out those ways to be a bit frugal, because unfortunately, as much as we want money to grow on trees, it doesn't.
not
So,
yet.
and I love working with good online vendors that are willing to take, a little bit of a profit hit. Then that just means when I go back to them and I want to buy something, I don't argue. I'd be like, you know what? I'm cool with paying this price right now. I mean, I've got the money. I really want it. And you guys are in business to make money. And that's how I get my partnerships, with a lot of these vendors. They like that. They understand, you know, again, I'm getting too old for people to be bickering over my business. I'm going to go with somebody. I'm not going to have them fight over each other. If I have to pay a little bit more for a better quality part
Yeah.
because a vendor actually has it in stock, you're dang right I'm going to do it. It's just how I am.
Yeah, and lately too, is shipping's a big thing because I know anything I've ordered has taken like weeks to get
Oh,
here.
yeah.
Even Amazon has taken over a week, and I have Prime, so like it
Yep.
you can't get anything in quickly right now. So if they can get it to you in a couple of days or something, that's impressive.
Yeah. I mean, I ordered that oil pan on Wednesday and I already got it yesterday. So that was quick.
That's
The
awesome.
Nemesis, inner liner fenders, they're on back order. They said 2 to 3 weeks, and that's fine because I ordered the heavy duty skid plates for the piggyback shocks,
Yep.
and those were on back order. They said ship 3 to 10 business days. They finally shipped this week, and they're going to be here like Tuesday, so that's good. Um, but sometimes it's worth waiting instead of trying to be impatient about it.
Yeah.
So I'm good with that. And it was really awesome. They sent me a little swag bag, some stickers. The only bummer is they didn't have gecko green that I really like.
Uh,
I
and
know.
your
They're
Jeep
like,
is
that's not a
all
common
gecko
color.
green. I'm honestly surprised you don't have the gecko green Jeep.
I wanted the gecko green, but it had to deal with available funds and budget. So I had been working a ton of overtime for the company that I work for. I work in IT in their service desk. I work for a healthcare company, and
Yep.
they are rolling out a lot of new tools and resources and stuff. So I got to work a lot of overtime for a couple of years when I started with them over 4 years ago. So
Right.
I started saving up and saving up and saving up, and I had about 5 grand saved up, which was unheard of for me. Because usually I'd be like, "Ooh, I've got some money. Let's go buy something, have
Shiny
fun."
things.
And then you just realize you buy these little things, and you're like, "It's crap. I just throw it away. I'm not going to use it."
Yep. Yep.
So I was looking at those more unique colors, but they are definitely not in my price range. And I wanted to buy something that was in decent condition, within my price range, and that I could honestly throw this money at and then pay it off in a short period of time. I hate having monthly payments for anything. It
Yeah.
drives me bonkers.
Seems like everything's switching to monthly payments.
Yeah, it's like I want to, if I want the vehicle, save up for it. Yeah, unless you find a really good deal, save up for it, and then in our cases, make the Jeeps the way we want them to be. And that's what's great about a Jeep. Do I want the Rubicon? Absolutely. Can I afford the Rubicon? Absolutely not. So buy the X or the Sport model and build it the way I want it to. And that's what's great about a Jeep Wrangler is it's an adult Lego. It
There's
really
so
is.
many things you could put into it.
Right. I mean, I've got a project that I was trying to start this past fall, and then we had this whole business with this pandemic thing. So I've got a Dana 30. I bought it from a guy. It was just the housing, and that was it. $100, good condition. The guy took it out, and he had, I can't remember exactly what he put in. I think he put in a Dana 44 that was beefed up. So I had a few people, I was like, yeah, I'm going to buy a Dana 30 and I'm going to make it an ultimate Dana 30. And
Yep.
people are like, well, that's dumb. You should just go and get a 44 and blah, blah, blah. And I was researching, not heavy into it, but I found that the Dana 44 and the Dana 30, the only real difference between them is the pumpkin. That's
Yeah.
it. I'm
Yeah.
like,
The older ones, it was a bigger deal. Like the
yeah,
older 30 and 44 were completely different, but the newer ones are basically identical for the most part.
yeah. So I was going to start up. I actually bought a whole bunch of stuff. I've got the truss kit. So I went overboard, and some people even said, wow, that's crazy. That's way overboard. So I got the truss kit and I got the sleeve kit. So yeah, this thing is, once it's finally built, it's probably going to be better than a lot of, Dana 44s half built. It's going to be ridiculous.
Well, and it's funny too. People always slam on how the Dana 30 is not a good axle, but I've run it in my JK for the longest time, and I know people out there who have watched the video know I snapped my original Dana 30 in half, but that was kind of a one time scenario. Like I hit a really pointy rock, like right on it. I was winching against. There was a lot of tension. Like that's right where my raised track bar mount, the bracket for that was. So it was like a lot of tension in that one spot, and that's why it broke in there. Or that's what I'm assuming. At least I'm not 100% sure still. And
Right.
I went ahead. I had a used Dana 30 at home, just the housing. Swapped the gears over to the new housing. I've been running it fine just since, and I'm running 37-inch tires on beadlocks. So
You kill me, man, when you say that.
like it's stronger than people think. I think it has a lot to do with people's wheeling style too. Some people, if you're just gonna send it, and I mean I send it, but I don't know if there's
How often do you send it, though?
yeah, like I send it quite a bit. from wheeling up here in the Northeast, you kind of have to a lot of the times because you'll get really slick mud that you'll go through, and then you'll try to climb a rock and you have to gain some speed to go up it. And
Yep.
I've hit some pretty hard trails and it's still managing to hold up. So I don't know. I think a lot of it has to do with skill too. If you're sending it, but you're smashing it off a bunch of rocks at the same time, yeah, it's probably going to break or bend or something more often.
Oh yeah.
If you're kind of planning your line, picking your line, and
that's like, with your rider lawnmower, if you cut your grass and start bashing into stuff, yeah, you're going to break the stuff that you bash into, or you're going to break the lawnmower. Make sense of what you're doing. Don't just do it because everybody thinks it's so rad.
Yeah.
It's like, it's going to cost you later on.
Yeah, a lot of people, I can't believe how many people bash the Dana 30, and then I tell them, hey, I'm running one on 37s. But my excuse is kind of null and void at this point because I broke one of them. So they're like, well, you broke one.
Yeah, but it could have been, it could have been multiple things. And one of those things is it could have been a weak point from the factory.
Exactly. And now I have a truss I've been meaning to put on this new one, but just haven't had time. It's I think a TNT truss.
Okay.
And,
I got the
Artec. A JCR truss. I got it for like $100 or something. They were having a sale.
I got one of the Artec. I forgot which model it was. It was one of their old models that they were discontinuing.
Yeah, they just switched a lot of their stuff.
Yeah, I think I was on Northridge 4x4, and they're like 20% off clearance, blah blah blah. And I'm like, okay. Yeah. They had a couple of components that I'm probably not going to use, but it was still cheaper to buy that one than to buy the other one that didn't have the components in it.
Right, and like I love Artec stuff. I just recently got their truss for my Cherokee build for the Super Duty front axle. And that thing is just the beefiest looking thing. I love how everything looks like it locks right in together. We'll see how the install goes, but from what I've seen other people do, it's pretty easy install.
Yeah, I got a buddy of mine who's actually a professional welder. He does some, I want to say he does do some food grade welding. So, wow. Food grade welding is not just like your basic kind of welding. So at least that's what I've been told. So he's going to come over and help me do the welding stuff. And I plan on doing, the whole build. It's going to be multiple videos, and it's going to be a while before it's done.
Yeah.
Because I'm not 100% sure how I want to build everything, but I want to make sure that it's going to, whatever I build, makes sense, not to go crazy, spending money on stuff just because it's there.
Yeah.
But I also don't want to, undervalue and just buy stuff because it's cheap.
I think a lot of people, going back to what you were saying about how you were surprised at how well your Jeep handled even open, no lockers. I think a lot of people underestimate how good a Jeep does off-road in its stock form. And I encourage everyone out there that has a Jeep in stock form to go out. If you're wanting to off-road, that is, just go out on some small, easy trails, go with some friends who know what they're doing, and try it out. You'll be surprised at what your Jeep can handle.
Yeah, and don't be afraid to use the bypass. I mean, if they're good friends or people that are decent people, and it happens with every kind of group, you've always got those jokers, those few goofballs. If you don't feel comfortable doing something, don't do it. Just use the bypass. And if somebody's going to give you a crap for it, that's their problem. That's not your problem. Just because they decided to spend a poop ton of money and, throw Dana 60s on their Jeep and 42-inch tires, and they're like, oh, I can get through everything. Why? You should do the same thing. Don't listen to them. It's not worth your time. And there's no point in frustrating yourself and getting angry over nothing. I mean, there was people when I was on the trail last weekend that have absolutely no modifications. They had, Saharas and Sports, and they were getting through stuff without any issue. And they had factory-sized tires and factory wheels, all that stuff. They were still able to air down. I aired down. I've got 16 by 8-inch wheels that are Mammoth wheels. I like the way they look. They're not real expensive, but they look cool. And the reason why I went down smaller versus doing a 17, and I don't understand why people do 18, but that's their thing. I wanted to have an extra inch so that when I do air down, if I decide to air down quite a bit, I don't have to worry about potentially popping the bead as easy as, you got 18-inch wheels, and then you've got your tires, and you try to air down to like 15 psi. Unless they're bead locks, man, you have a high potential of popping that bead.
I think a lot of it, the reason to go bigger, the reason they went 17 and then some people go 18 is to clear the brakes, because your JKs and anything like that have bigger brakes. That's why you can't really
It's
go
true.
any lower than 16. I know, like on the Cherokees and stuff, you used to like go 15-inch wheels, but they have smaller brakes. So if you have upgraded brakes or something, it's definitely, you need to have that bigger tire or
Well,
bigger wheel.
right. And the backspacing I've got is 4.5. So they stick out farther, which is nice.
Yeah.
I don't have to. And I did buy them, the Spider Trek. Um, oh my
Wheel
gosh.
spacers.
The wheel spacers. I bought them because I ended up getting their scratched and dent, and I saved like 30 or 40 bucks. So I bought them. And I had nothing was really rubbing with the 17-inch factory ones.
Yeah.
I really wanted to push them out because I was going to get some components that require additional backspacing, and I don't need them now. But I've got the factory brakes, and they clear everything that I've put on. A lot of the Terraflex stuff that I've got, everything clears because it needs the 4.5 backspacing, which is perfect. But you know, getting back to individuals, hey guys, if you're going to go out there and you want to wheel and you want to test the waters, what do you want to improve? You know, which direction do you want to go with your Jeep? Yeah, go stock. Don't listen to all the other goofballs out there that may laugh at you because you've got a stock Jeep and you decide that you want to do the bypass. I did the bypass. I don't want to say my Jeep is 100% stock because I've got the leveling lift kit, but mine's pretty close to stock, and I made it through some pretty interesting stuff.
Yeah, and I think a good spotter goes a long way too. If you go out with someone you're comfortable with and they know how to spot, feel free to go ahead and try the challenging things. Just go slow, take your time, and a good spotter is going to let you know, hey, you can do this or you can't do this, or you don't have the ground clearance. They might, a lot of it's just tire placement, so you're not hitting stuff. You might not be able to take the same line as someone else, but you can still get up obstacles that you may be a little nervous about. Just listen to your spotter.
Yeah. And don't, I mean, if you know you're like, okay, I can do this, but I want to go through that way because that person did it. Well, if it's not going to work for your vehicle, think about it. Going that same line that somebody else did isn't necessarily going to mean that you're going to get through.
Right, right.
You know, if you need to pick a little bit higher land for to get through it, then do it. And if you're with people that are just going to give you crap for doing those things, they're the wrong people.
Exactly. You got to go out with a group of people that you feel comfortable with and who aren't going to judge you, because then you're going to have a good time. You're going to want to do it again, and
Yep.
you're
And
going to
learn.
enjoy it.
I mean, if they're out there, willing to, there are going to be those situations. You get stuck. People are going to laugh. It's going to be funny. It's the whole experience.
Right.
But if at the end of the day, the people that you go out with go, hey man, you did really good. You have any questions? What do you think you want to do? Yeah, those are the people that you want to be with because they're going to give you the best tips and tricks. No, unless you're super rich or you like to be super poor and have lots of bills every month, no one just runs out and buys everything.
Right, right.
So, I mean, do I wish I would have went out with my Jeep when it was more stock than what it is now? Absolutely. Because I was trying to get the Jeep to a certain point. I watched your channel. I watched, a lot of channels. It's like, man, I got to get all this stuff, make it through everything and be cool like all the other guys. It's not worth it. Do what you want to do and how you want to do it. Do you want to rock crawl? Okay, then do that. Invest in them, in the equipment that you need. Or do you just want to go out on the trail, make it through, a little bit of high water? Well, then invest in the equipment that's going to work for you correctly. Like me, I got those piggybacks. My wife and I both have bad backs. It's the wonderful joys of getting older. And anybody who's driven in a Jeep, stuff stock, man, you hit some of those bumps, you feel it. You just feel it all. So if there's a way that I can help improve that ride without going too expensive or overkill, I'm going to do that. Go within your budget. I've got the Skyjacker Black Max
Yep.
shocks, and they're definitely an improvement over the factory ones. But they're not the improvement that I need more. But I'm not also running out and, buying everything under the sun. It's steps. It's not just whip out the credit card and blow $4,000, $4,000 all at once and get everything shipped to you. Do it in steps.
Especially if you're new to Jeeps, like if you've done it before and you know what you're looking for, yeah, you could probably go out and spend $4,000. But a lot of people that are new to getting into the Jeep scene, they don't have that kind of money, so they can just slowly step it up. Like I started with 2.5 inches of lift and an open. I ran that for the longest time, and I hit a lot of trails that people thought that you couldn't hit on 2.5 inches and open, no lockers.
That's what she said.
I knew there was a joke in there somewhere. I was waiting for it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm impressed by the performance leveling lift kit by Terraflex, and it's got the springs. I decided not to go. I spent a little bit more. I got the springs versus the spacers. Anybody who's looking for an improvement over the stock springs, but they just want a very little lift or leveling kit, I would love it if Terraflex would pay me to say it. But hey, I think it's a great investment. It cost me under $700 for everything, and It came with all the stuff that I needed. I didn't have to make huge changes or get long, brake lines or any of that stuff. It was awesome.
Yeah, I think it's a great little kit for someone who's kind of maybe unsure too of if they want to actually go hit some trails. Like, oh, well, maybe I want a little bit. Let me try putting this in and seeing how it goes. And then maybe after that, like you said, you want to go to 2.5 inches. So,
yeah. I mean, don't feel bad that you in my case, yeah, it was just under $700 for everything. And I put it on and I sat back and I was like, I wonder if I should have went with 2.5 inches. And I was like, nah, let's try this out, test it. Because what happens if I really like how this is? I wasted money on the 2.5 when I could have just went like this. Right now, that 2 in the front, 1 in the back, it's perfect.
Yeah.
If I do want to upgrade in the future, well, that's probably like 3 years from now or something that I'm thinking about doing it. It's still a great investment that I did. It's exactly.
Yeah, you got like some of the components that you're going to need for if you upgrade too. You don't have to buy everything. You can just buy like new springs, maybe some longer shocks, that kind of thing.
Yep. And then I've got adjustable control arms that are from stock to, I want to say it was 4 inches of lift.
Yeah.
So if I do plan on going to a 2.5 inch lift, I have that ability to make the adjustment. I invested into those because of the potential of going to a larger, lift. Yep. Where if I was going to just stick with what I have, factory is fine. Factory you get away with, but I would definitely recommend upgrading the components. But you could still go with the factory length and not spend the extra money for the adjustable. You can get away with that. You don't need to. Just because somebody else has it and they like it and they promote it the best way that they think, yeah, you really should get this. Don't do that. Find out what's going to work for you now. And if it's something that you can run for a couple of years and later on you decide that you want to upgrade, yeah, do it. You can sell all those components as long as they're in good condition. I've got stuff on my Jeep right now that I'm switching out with other components that I'm going to throw up on Facebook Marketplace.
Yeah, especially if you take care of your Jeep and keep it minimally rust-free as much as you can. I know, at least around here, the winters, everything just salt and rust. But
well, right. I mean, I'm in Wisconsin. I'm part of that, salt belt too. It's just one of those things that happens. I mean, I've got a few of the components that I'm taking off. I had some powder coat rub off on a sway bar, and I want to say that sway bar was just under $200. But to get rid of it, because I don't need it, and why should I go? Well, I paid $200, so I want $150 for it.
No.
I'm going to sell it for well under $100 and be like, you know what? Here you go. I was in your spot. I didn't have much money.
Yeah,
If I can help you out to get you out on the trail.
Yep. Yeah, somebody might need it too because they might have broke something, and if
right.
you're offering it cheap, it's like, oh, well, hey, I can afford to go out and go wheeling again.
Yep. I mean, and you'll see them on the trail or whatever. There's no point in trying to, get all your money back for some of the stuff that you've used, because you've used it and it worked out great for you. But now you're upgrading because you want a little bit more. Why have a whole bunch of parts sitting around your garage that you're not going to use?
Yeah, I see a lot of people like that they'll be like, oh, well, I know it's worth this much, so I'm going to charge this much. And it's like, and they're like,
not worth it.
Yeah, don't lowball me. It'll be all right. I'm going to take only this, and don't lowball me. I'll ignore your message and stuff. And it's like, then you're never going to sell it.
Well, not only that, but it's going to take up valuable space in your garage.
Yeah.
Why have a whole bunch of parts sitting in a corner on the side when you could put a brand new toolbox there? Or an air compressor? I mean, you got to think logically about it.
Yeah, my garage.
You want to get money for stuff? I mean, yeah, I would love it if someone would go, oh, I'll give you $150 for that piece.
Yeah, all right, take it.
Yeah, absolutely. But I'm not going to sit around for 6 months waiting for that one person to finally go, yeah, I'll do it.
Yeah. No, it's like I have a set of Cherokee axles the stock ones I took out of my Jeep, and I put brand new brake calipers in the front and stuff, and I have wheel adapters to put JK rims and some beat up used 35s, and I'm like, come on, somebody just buy them. And I keep lowering the price hoping somebody will buy them, but no real bites yet.
And that happens sometimes. I mean, that's where it kind of stinks. You did invest quite a bit of money into it. You're trying to make at least, some of that money back by selling it. And that, in your particular situation, it's understandable.
Yeah.
I invested, I don't know how much you invested into it, but let's say you invested $200 into the axle, and the axle, let's say the full-on value that you really think it's really worth $350.
Right.
To you. I look at it this way. If nobody's going to give me $350 for it, drop the price like you're doing and hoping that somebody bites. Try to make at least the money back from the newer components that you did.
Yeah, and the time you spent.
Axles take up a lot of room.
Yeah. Yeah, I have them sitting outside my garage now, and the grass is like 3 feet tall, like almost covering them completely. I'm like, someone buy them just so I can mow my lawn beside the garage.
Yeah, no, I hear you. Oh, man, speaking of your garage, I hope you do more and more welding, because that'll get you closer and closer to it burning down.
Yeah, I've actually caught a couple of rags on fire already.
Oh, I saw that one. I can't remember which video it was, but that was a while back where it was starting on fire in the video.
Yeah, because I was welding along, and I had just cleaned something with like acetone or something, or brake cleaner, and I set the rag aside what I thought was far enough, but the sparks travel far, so make sure you're aware of that and keep a fire extinguisher handy or something you can pat out the fire with in case it goes out of control.
Yeah. So before I went on the trail last week and I was trying to get a bunch of stuff, fire extinguisher was one of those. I bought a H3R performance fire extinguisher.
Yeah, I did a review on those.
Yep. So I bought one of those, and then I ended up buying another one, and I wanted to return one of the other ones.
Yeah.
Amazon won't let you return it.
Really? Because it's hazardous?
Yeah. So it's like, wait, you guys can ship it to me, but I can't return it?
You're like, that logically make any sense? Yeah, like how do you does it say like no returns when you buy it or anything, or?
Not that I saw. I mean, but when I try to return it going through the app, it's like, this is a non-returnable item. I'm like, what? Are you freaking kidding me? I don't even have the item in my hand yet. It's like showing up later today. I just
Yeah.
want to return it. I don't need it. So now I have 3 fire extinguishers. I've got one set up in my garage. I've got one in the Jeep, and then a second one I'm going to put in the Jeep. I'm going to put it up front underneath the driver's seat because I want to be easily able to access that one. And then I want one in the back just in case we're out on the trail, something happens behind me, and they can easily grab that fire extinguisher. It's like, that's a community fire extinguisher. Use it.
Yeah, a lot of people get these fancy fire extinguisher mounts and they mount it on their roll bar. It's like inside their hardtop or something. I'm like, yeah, but the fire extinguisher shouldn't be easy for you to access as much as it should be for someone outside your Jeep to access or easily get, because it's going to be more your fire extinguisher is going to put out someone else's Jeep rather than your like your fire extinguisher is not going to put out your fire because you're not going to go into your burning Jeep to get your fire extinguisher, basically.
I mean, if I'm sitting in the Jeep and I'm like, man, that's smoking,
Yeah.
something's going on. It could really be anything. Do I have that fire extinguisher right there underneath my seat to grab and unlatch real quick? Yes. I'll grab it, but I can't run all the way to the back, grab the fire extinguisher, and then come all the way back up, and I'm already got flames.
Yeah, and you want to get those good quick release mechanisms too, because if you're struggling for it, if you struggle more than a couple of seconds, just get out of the Jeep. Like
you're done. You might as well just call the insurance company and be like,
yeah, or hopefully
write me a check for cash.
Fire extinguisher too.
So, but yeah, I like having the 2, or I will like having the 2 fire extinguishers because I got to get the mount up front.
Yep.
And because it's peace of mind. If I'm sitting next to somebody, let's say we're on the trail and we're waiting because somebody else is stuck and somebody's Jeep overheats, I've got that right there between my legs. I can just grab and jump out. And then, so like I was saying, the community one's in the back for everybody to use. And it's like, use it. It's there to make sure that everybody's safe on the trail.
Yeah,
plus, if you got a Jeep on fire,
if someone just grabs it out of the back of your Jeep and uses it, like you're going to be happy that their Jeep didn't go up in flames, and then you try to get that off the trail.
Right, and I'm going to pay for recharging it. I don't care, because if we're on the trail and that happens and that Jeep starts burning down, nobody's got a fire extinguisher, what's going to happen to the woods?
Yeah, exactly. We actually went earlier this year. We went up on one of our local trails and got a bunch of junk cars out, and a couple of them were just like burnt to a crisp, and one of them had singe marks like halfway up the tree, and we're lucky it didn't catch the whole forest on fire. I don't know who did what, and the police were notified, and hopefully they can help track a little bit down, but there wasn't much of the vehicle left to be able to report to the police.
And it doesn't take much. I mean, yeah, I would say we've definitely had a wetter season this year. I wish we actually had more rain, or I wish I would have had rain more frequent, not as much, because my grass looks funky right now.
Yeah, our grass for a while just was like burnt to a crisp.
But it takes, living here in Wisconsin, I mean, there's times where it's hot, humid, 100 degrees outside, and it could be for a week, and it doesn't take much for stuff to start, going dormant or die.
Yeah, it's just all dry, and then one little spark and forest on fire.
And that's what happened to a lot of that stuff out in California.
Yeah, one little spark or someone smoking a cigarette or something, flicking ash.
I think that drives me crazy. I'm not going to say where I was, but I've been, out in the woods, on the trail, and people are smoking out there.
Yep.
Why? I mean, I get it. It's something that it's kind of like having your coffee, I guess. But
you need your fix.
I mean, I got coffee. My coffee is not going to start this woods on fire where everybody is in single file line.
Yeah. Not to mention, you're not going to be able to get off the trail super quick to try to get back to where you're not in the woods catching on fire.
Right. That's another reason. Make sure you got a fire extinguisher with you.
Yeah.
Somebody could throw their butt out and think it's all gone, and it just hits some brush or whatever just right. All of a sudden you're smoking there.
Yeah. Poof.
Yeah. So I don't
Yeah.
know what else do you
Let's
got?
let's talk about your big Jeep repair that you did recently.
I've got two. Oh, two.
Two big
That would be
Jeep.
four. So two of them. Yeah. So it's a 2009 Jeep Wrangler. It's got the 3.8 engine, and they're known for having head gasket issues. So last fall, actually before fall, I had the head gasket. I knew it was blown. Just process of elimination. I called a couple places, told them exactly what was going on. Long story short, they all agreed with me. They're like, yeah, that pretty much sounds like a head gasket. And at that point, I just put the Jeep away. I bought a cover for it. I didn't want to deal with it. I have another vehicle that I could use. Honestly, didn't have the cash for it, even though I would really like to have gotten it fixed. So once we hit February, March, tax season comes around, and I have them take out like as much money as possible out of my yearly checks,
Yeah.
so that it's a
Get
big
a big
tax
chunk
return.
back. Yeah.
And well, big tax returns turn into a small tax return when you've got to take your Jeep in to get it fixed for big things. So I took it in. I had them, check everything. They're like, yeah, it's definitely the head gasket. Found out that the headers were cracked, so they had to get new ones of those. But found out that the radiator was good. So $3,000 later, it was fixed. It was
Now,
definitely a
none of
lot
that
more
was
money.
under warranty.
Oh no, because I was, second owner, and that thing was way out. I want to say
Well,
when
yeah,
I
but I'm
bought it.
sure. Like, I'm surprised. Like, it wasn't like a manufacturer like defect recall kind of thing, or
I mean, I could look into it, and they can send me a check. I mean, if
I know
if
with my wife's JK, she has, or well, JKU, she has one of the newer ones. Hers is a 15, and I know those ones started having issues with they would start misfiring, and it was because like if it was like the head wasn't aligned properly or something, and it could cause weird things in the head gasket or something like that. And
huh.
like sometimes it would like fix itself or something, but that was under warranty if you needed that done.
I mean, I can look into it, but I doubt it. I mean, the interesting thing is the 3.8's the exact same engine that I've got in my 2005 Grand Caravan. And my 2005 Grand Caravan, never had a problem with it, and that's over 200,000 miles now.
Yeah, I know there was also because mine overheated and like fried the transmission. I'm on my second transmission.
Really?
Yeah, and these ones they don't have a transmission cooler like they do in the newer JKs. So I ended up installing an aftermarket transmission cooler, but there was a warranty out for some of the some models that they were overheating in the transmission. It was giving them issues, but
What
mine
year is yours?
2010.
Okay, so yours is 1 year newer than mine.
Yeah, and apparently mine wasn't on the list of I don't know what the list was, but I had them check at the dealership, and they're like, "Nope, sorry, yours isn't on there." So I'm like, "Well, I guess I'm installing my own transmission cooler then," and it's been a lot better since I installed that.
Yeah, I mean, the 3.8's, dude, they get hot.
So hot.
And it's so easy. I mean, so they had fixed it. I told them to fix the radiator if it, having problems. And they're like, nope, the radiator's good. And I was like, okay.
Yep.
So then about, what was that? That was 3 weeks ago? Yeah, 3 weeks ago. I'm working on the Jeep, putting some stuff in. And I had ran the Jeep for a little bit in the garage. It was half in the garage. All of a sudden I'm seeing like fluids dripping on both sides of the radiator. And I was like,
Yeah. Like, what's going
okay.
on?
So I'm getting little puddles showing up. I was like, ah. And the crazy thing is, it was the weekend before the Jeep Jamboree up in Crandon, Wisconsin,
Oh no.
that they had canceled already. So I got super lucky. I got all my money back from that, but then I had to put that money back into the Jeep. So I took it over to the place that's right down the street from my house, And they're like, well, we probably can't get to it for about, a week or two. And I'm like, that's fine. I just don't want it in my garage. I don't want it in my driveway. I don't even want it in front of my house. And at that point, I don't know if you saw the Instagram uh, post that I did, but I went into Carvana and I was like, oh, Carvana's going to give me $9,500 for the Jeep. Maybe I'll just get rid of it and cut my, just
Yeah,
cut the
cut your
loss.
losses, get a different Jeep. Like,
Yep. Send me the check. We'll just go from there. And so I took it over there, and sure enough, was the radiator fix. But prior to that, I ended up having, I want to say it was a year and a half before that, I had to have the emergency brake replaced because it was all rusted and locked up hardcore on me.
yeah,
They found that the rear passenger side caliper had essentially locked up, fused itself right to the rotor, and they replaced that, but the other ones were good. Well, fast forward to now, the other three started locking up. And I
huh?
was going to do the repair myself. That was prior to the radiator starting to leak. I was like, you know what? I don't want to deal with this. I'm like, here's the parts. Just fix it.
Yeah,
I don't care. You're already going to have it up in the air. You're already going to be working on it. I'm just going to pay the extra to have it done. So yeah, there's those times where you're just like, I know I could probably do this, even though I haven't done it before, but I don't want to deal with it. Just going to pay somebody to take care of it.
yeah, and like it gets frustrating too, especially if it's a daily driver like mine is. I mean, I do all my own work except like I had the transmission done because I'm like I need this done, and I've never dropped the transmission in one of these, and I just I got to get to work, so I need
Yeah.
it fixed. But
Yeah. The head gasket I would have done, too. I was like, oh, I'll do it. And I started looking at some videos on YouTube and I'm like, oh, it doesn't look that bad. And started watching some more. And I was like, I'm going to be a couple $1,000s later. I'm just going to have somebody else do it because they also sent it out to have the head machined.
yeah,
And I
and you
called
wouldn't
it
have done that, so
right. I wouldn't even have thought of I didn't even think of it right away. I called a couple places. They were telling me a little less than $1,500 to do it. And the one company that I called right down the street from me, he's like, it's going to be more than that because we have to send the head out. We want to make sure everything is perfect. And I was like, holy crap. I didn't even think of that. I was okay with spending the extra $300-400.
yeah, because you know it's gonna be good now for the life of
Yep.
the engine, basically.
Why save that money when in the future that head gasket's going to blow again because the head wasn't taken care of?
Yep.
Pay for it now. Just get it done.
How many
Think
miles do you have
smart.
on your Jeep?
I think I'm up to 154, 152,000.
Yeah, mine's pretty low mileage. I'm creeping up on 100,000, so I
Okay.
think I'm gonna start doing a lot of like spark plugs and stuff like
I,
that. Make sure I
yeah,
go.
I did all that stuff myself. Spark plug wires, the coil pack.
Yeah.
I recommend changing out the coil pack right away, even if the coil pack looks good. I want to say it cost me like $40 for the coil pack.
Let me tell you what, on those newer engines, like we have the 3.8, it's easy to get to all of those coils. On the 3.6 Penstar, you have to take off the whole intake manifold and you have to replace all the intake plenum gaskets and stuff.
Yep.
And you have to take out like 100 different screws just to get that off.
Yeah.
Miserable.
What's his name? Crawl TV. He showed that video.
Yeah, I was watching his video. I'm like, there's like 100 screws you have to take out just to get this intake off, just so you can get to the spark plugs. Like, are you kidding
Yeah.
me?
I mean, it's honestly, that's pretty easy still. It's more time consuming.
Yeah,
That would be one of those things that I would say, you know what, I'm going to do this, make sure I'm extra careful because I don't want to drop anything into
right.
the engine. That would be one of those things where I'd say, I'm just going to do it myself. It's going to save me money. It's just going to take me a little bit longer to do it. That was more of a day project versus like getting it done in an hour and a half.
I'm just like, who engineers stuff like that though? Like spark plugs are something you change often, so let's
Yep.
make it the most difficult thing to do.
I had a what was that? 1989 Blazer, S10
Yeah.
Blazer, and I had to take the tires off, driver and passenger side, and go through the wheel well to get to two of the spark plugs on the passenger side. I
Wow.
want to say it might have been all three of them on the driver's side. Dude, I was so frustrated. I called out my buddy Pete, and I was like, dude, you got to come over here.
I
I'm
need
about
a
to
hand.
start
I'm
this.
gonna torch this thing.
Yeah. I mean, I was getting to the point. I'm like, my hands are not really big, but it was just it was like Kama Sutra kind of weird thing getting in there. And I was like, dude, you got to come over and help me out before I go crazy. And even he was like, how do they expect people to change these spark plugs? This is ridiculous.
Yeah, sometimes it just takes a buddy coming over with a different perspective too. You get frustrated at something, call
Yeah,
one of your buddies over, be like, "Hey, this is what I'm trying to do,"
it
and
is.
they might be able to get it first try because they haven't been working at it for 20 minutes and all frustrated and hot and tired.
I think I was working on that thing for like 3 hours. And he's like, oh, we could probably go through the wheel well. And I was like, ugh.
Like now,
All right, let's take some tires off and go through the wheel well. And that's how we did it. I mean, it was still, you got these weird hand cramps when you're trying to get in there to get it. And you're like,
yeah,
why?
why?
Why can't you just make it real easy? Just pop it right in there, pop it right out. So I had watched a couple of videos, and this is when I did the spark plugs on the Jeep 2 Februarys ago.
Yep, yep.
And a couple of guys put a little bit of anti-seize on there when they put them in. And the mechanic where I took the Jeep, he's like, you really don't want to put anti-seize on those because even though you got them real tight, they can still come loose a little bit, which then can cause you a problem. So it's one of those, do you do it? Do you not do it? Because you've got a mechanic, a guy who's been in business doing it for a couple of decades.
Right.
There are other people that do it where it's, they've had no problem. But just because they didn't have a problem doesn't mean you're going to have no problems.
I actually just watched a video not too long ago. Chris Fix. I don't know if you've seen any.
Oh, I love his stuff. He's got good stuff.
He's very thorough. He did one on spark plugs, and he was saying that some of your newer spark plugs have some kind of coating on them that you don't want to use Never Seas on, and then others they have it. So you probably should do a light coating just so they don't, because it's going to heat up and expand and contract. So like if you don't have some kind of coating or coating doesn't come on them, you really want something there so it's not going to stick in there. And I'd rather have a little bit of Never Seas on there than have it stick into it and then snap off or something when you're trying to remove it.
I haven't snapped them before, but I've lived through that where you're just like, this is never coming out.
Yeah.
It's welded itself in there. It's never going to happen.
It's not a happy spark plug.
Right. 30 minutes later, you hear that, that wicked
like crack,
that wicked noise, and you're like, oh, I'm so screwed.
Yeah.
And then you wrench a little bit more, and you're still hearing that wicked, grinding.
Just like breaking those rough springs.
Oh, it's so terrifying when you hear that grinding, squealing noise from anything.
Yeah, stuck bolts are the worst.
Oh, my God. I did that with the evap canister. Yeah. I had one of them that it was like coming out real good. I had sprayed it down with some PV blaster and it was working, but I got to a point, it just snapped. So I've got a skid plate on it, but only I've got 2 bolts versus the 3 bolts on it.
Yep. Yeah, I had where my stock exhaust, I guess you could call it a skid plate. It's just kind of like a very thin hunk of metal that surrounds your plastic gas tank. Well, there's one spot where the transfer case skid plate ties into that on the gas tank. Well, that had completely rotted out, and so that the arm of the skid plate was just flapping up and down. So when I took my gas tank out recently to redo a seal on it, I welded a nut on the top so I could screw a bolt or put a bolt back up in there and make sure it was tight again. Because that was so annoying. You just hear rattle, 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 rattle going down the road, and drove me nuts for the longest time.
Now it's broken.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, eventually I would love to I'd love to redo all the skid plates on my Jeep with the aluminum kits.
Those are definitely a lot lighter.
The Quadratech makes that one that's pretty rad.
Yeah.
But man, after you buy everything, you're really light. If you buy everything right away, it's actually better because they give you a discount by buying it in a big package.
Yeah, buy the whole under kit, save a
Yeah,
bunch.
I can't remember how much you save, but it's well over $100. I'm probably wrong quoting this. I want to say I thought it was around $200 you save.
That's pretty good. I mean, it's not cheap either to skid plate have the whole
No,
skid plate system.
and then once you add all that weight, it makes it even worse.
Yeah, I actually just got a deal from my buddy on a rock hard gas tank skid plate for the JK because he's taking his gas tank out and putting a fuel cell in. So
Oh, really?
yeah, he's like, I don't need this anymore. And he's swapping his Jeep on tons, so
Oh, nice.
he wants to move his rear axle back a little because it's a 2-door JK, and of course the gas tank's in the way, so he decided to
Stupid
sacrifice his rear seat and go with a fuel cell.
Yeah, I mean, if he's got a 2-door, that rear seat is I always thought was funny.
I took mine out a while ago. I haven't put it back in. Same with the carpet too.
I mean, okay, so years ago, the Fast and the Furious movie came out, and
Yeah.
everybody was heavy into the racers, and I bought an '02 Honda Civic EX Coupe, and I had a buddy of mine sit in the back of that. I'm a tall guy. I'm 6'2",
Right.
and I could kind of sit in it comfortably, kind of. And I had my buddy because my wife was with him. She's 6 foot tall, so
Yeah.
my kids have the sky to look forward to as they get
Tall
older.
genes in the family.
Oh my gosh, it's wild. And so my buddy, way shorter than me, is like 5 something,
Yeah.
sitting in the back of the Civic, and dude had to lay sideways because there was just no room. I'm like, coupes should not have back seats.
Yeah, well, like
They're
what's
totally
the
irrelevant.
point? You could put a little kid back there maybe, but that's it.
But then, I mean, pulling the seat up and then putting the little kid in the car seat back there, it's a waste of material.
Yeah.
It really is. Just do something nice back there. I think the back seat is such a bad joke. And in the Jeeps, yeah, there's definitely a little bit more room, get back there and have people sit in them. But so many people take them out, and you've got this seat now sitting in your garage.
Yeah. I was actually thinking about turning mine into like a little like bench or something for the office, or just like a neat little seat because
I mean, you could turn it into a nice, bench seat out in the garage after you're done working with something. Well, after you burn your garage to the floor.
yeah. Well, I'm just hoping it doesn't freeze shut this year. I'm hoping to keep enough heat in there. I got a wood stove, so
Every time I watch like an update video of the garage, I'm like, ooh, did it fall over?
I know we had a crazy part of that storm came through our area. What was it, earlier this week or something? And we had tornado warnings in New Hampshire, so that's kind of weird. But like any tornado around here would just get like dissipated by the mountains and stuff anyway.
Yeah.
But there was some pretty high winds and stuff, and I'm like, oh, come on, take out that tree right into the garage. Like, I don't even care if it takes out the Cherokee at this point. I'm like, I could rebuild a Cherokee. I just could use some extra space in that garage. And
you're sitting there with a cup of coffee in your office, just looking at the garage going, tornado warning.
Yeah,
cool.
Yeah.
Sip. Sip. Damn, the tornado warning's over. Yeah. My garage is still there. No.
Well, if someone wants to bring their pet beaver over to start gnawing on the tree for me, or a hacksaw, like.
I always joke around with my wife. We have a nice house, but once you get into wrenching on stuff, you always want a bigger garage, and your garage is never big enough. Nope, even if you have a big garage, it's never big enough. So recently, we actually were over by some friends that were just a couple miles down the road. I'm in a village, but I've got country behind my house, and that's what I like. City up front, country in the back. So we were over by their house, and all of a sudden, tornado warning came up. We got notifications on our phone. I was like, oh, yeah, the house is getting demolished. All I'm thinking about, how much bigger can I get my garage? And, of course, the tornado misses.
You're like, come on.
It's like, well, there's no tornado now. I'm like, ugh.
I'm waiting for a natural disaster here. Come on. What do I have to do?
So I don't know. Are you into like paranormal stuff at all by chance?
A little bit, yeah, yeah,
Okay. So my wife watches a lot of this stuff at night. Like you've got Ghost Adventures and you've got, um, oh, what's his name? He always says, then what the hell happened?
yeah,
Dead Files.
yeah.
And there's a couple other strange stuff. I can't remember all the names, but they were talking about there is a print of called the Crying Boy. And anyone that put this print in their house, the house essentially would start on fire, but the print would be fine. So
Huh.
I was like thinking, I was falling asleep because my wife watches this stuff at night. I was like, I think we need to get a copy of this print.
Yeah, I was gonna say, what is it? Let me get the Google up, see if we can find a copy of it. I'll
I'm
print
like,
like I'll wallpaper my entire garage with it. Be like,
I was like, we need the Crying Boy print right now, and just move out, the really expensive stuff that I could
yeah, that you
replace it, but
don't
I don't
want
want
to.
to.
How do you
And
explain that to your insurance company?
I'd be like, I don't know.
I don't know. I hang this picture up and the whole garage just caught fire. I didn't think it was gonna happen.
Yeah, I didn't really think. I was told by this one guy this might happen, but I was like, "You're full of crap, man."
That would be insane.
Just that again, sitting there with coffee, just looking out the window, going, "All right, Crying Boy, you gonna start a fire?"
Well, and then your garage catches fire, and you're like, I'm gonna give it another couple minutes before I call the fire department.
I
I
tell the
want it to
neighbors,
get high. I want those flames
yeah,
to be 20 feet in the air.
I always joke around with the neighbors, "Hey, we're gonna be out of town for a couple of days. If you see the house on fire, at least wait an hour before calling the fire department." You know, it always, I don't know why, but it always bugs me when you watch, those news reports. I don't watch the news that often anymore, actually not
Right.
on purpose. And, you've got people that the tornado comes through and it blows down their house and they're so emotional over the house, being destroyed, whether it be by a tornado or hurricane or fire. And I look at it like, okay, you're alive, you're not dead. It's remodeling season.
Yeah, you can rebuild. Like, I'm sure if you live in an area where there's like tornadoes and stuff, like I'm sure you have insurance
Yeah,
to rebuild that. But like, I mean, I guess the one downfall would be like if you had any sentimental stuff that got destroyed.
right.
Then I can
And that's
understand.
understandable. But I mean, I look at it this way: my house gets blown over, starts on fire. I'm not calling the insurance company right away. I'm calling an architect.
Yeah, hey, what can we do? My house is on fire right now.
Yeah, you're like on Zoom live streaming with an architect. So this is what it looks like burning. So what do you
Yeah,
think we can do? This is how many
what can you
acres I
do for
have.
me?
Now remember, the garage has to be at least 3 car, and it's got to be 4 car deep.
And it's got to have power. That's a big thing I'm struggling with right now. Is trying to get 220 power out to the garage so I can weld more efficiently. I keep popping breakers on.
So
Uh,
have you called anybody to come out and give you a quote on that?
I talked to one guy that was he's like kind of an electrician. He only does it part time, and he works for here. He's with like the Jeep clubs around, so he said he'd get a good deal. But like, there's so like I have an older house, so if he sees anything, he's required by law to bring it up to code, and like
Yep.
so it would probably end up costing me more than it's worth. So
But
I
again,
really want to kind of try to do it myself. And like, I know that's probably not the right way and you're not
no,
supposed
when
to
it
do it.
comes to like electric and plumbing, you're better off paying the money. But here's the thing: is if he comes out and he's required to fix something, just remember, as much as I'm joking around, tornado blow down the house or house on fire. If you or your wife are there, you're sleeping and something happens,
Yeah.
it's worth the money. You know, I've got two actually circuit breakers in my house. I've got a main panel and a sub panel. My sub panel is totally full, and so is my main panel. So I need to upgrade that so I can run the 220 out to the garage that I want to. I want to put a hot dog heater out there and all that stuff. So I need to upgrade it.
That's big money right there.
I know, but the whole thing is, it's also a good investment because when I get to the point where I'm drooling on myself and I pass away and the kids want to sell it, it's going to be an easy sell for him.
Oh yeah, you're gonna be like, hey, I upgraded to a 200 amp service over 100 amp, and you got
Yep.
all these outlets and power. And
That's an easy sell to somebody who likes wrenching on a vehicle.
yep, definitely. That it probably increases the value of your house quite a
Oh,
bit.
absolutely. Absolutely. So it's those, yeah, it's going to cost me extra now, but it's a heck of an investment for the future.
Yeah, I mean, I would have a professional come and do it if I had the kind of money. Like it's crazy money to have, especially because I have to. My garage is detached, so I have to literally. I mean, I could do the digging and dig a trench and stuff and run the
Right.
wires, but like
And
it's
you can
still,
definitely do that. And a lot of, electricians, they don't want to do that.
no,
They want somebody else to do it. They want you to do it. Electricians do not like to dig.
they just
How do
want to
I know
fire
this?
up.
Because I have a buddy who is an electrician. He doesn't like to dig.
I can understand that.
He's like, because I want to put power out to my shed in the backyard. He goes, I'm not digging.
Yeah, go ahead. Here's a shovel. You're
He's
digging.
like, if you dig it, you run the pipe. I'll run the wire. He's like, I don't care. I'll run the wire. The wire's the easy part. I do not want to dig.
Yeah.
I have another individual that I know. He used to do subcontracting walls and stuff. He'll put the wall up. He'll do the drywall, studs, all that stuff. He won't paint. He's like, nope, I refuse to paint.
I can
It's like,
understand that. Painting's annoying.
oh, it is. But there are certain things you can definitely save money on.
Yep. Yeah, I just it's going to take a while, and I really want to just tear down the garage and get a nice new garage built before I.
You want me to tear down the garage. That's what you really want.
Yes.
You want me to drive all the way from Wisconsin to New Hampshire and accidentally plow Night Fury through your garage without the Cherokee on it.
Yep. There you go. Easy enough. I don't know what happened. I worked on my brakes last weekend. It must have been that.
Oh my gosh, that'd be hilariously bad.
Yes.
Because it would be my insurance company going, gosh, you're a jerk.
You're an idiot.
I've got full coverage. My Jeep's paid off and I've got full coverage still on it.
Yeah, mine too. Yeah.
So, and that's one of those things. I'm like, the amount of money that I invest and the time that I invest into this, I'm paying the extra to be full coverage.
Yeah,
'Cause you just
you
never
never
know.
know. You get into an accident or something bad enough to hurt you, even with the beefed up bumpers and stuff. You could still do some damage where you total it, and then.
Well, I don't know. I always forget his name, but he's that one dude, the one that got hurt out at the King of the Hammers.
Oh, yeah, the one that like ran over that one person too. Is that the one you're talking? Oh no, not King of Hammer.
No,
I'm thinking that other one at like Moab or something where.
Oh, that one I don't know. But he got ejected, and Brad from Trail Recon happened to be right there and saw it. And
Oh yeah, I know what one you're talking about now.
yeah, because I Instagram with him every now and then. We follow each other, and his particular situation. I mean, how messed up that Jeep was, and all I can think of is, if that happens to me, and I can't say what his insurance was, but at least if I have full coverage, the investment into it,
Yeah, you're
hopefully they write me a decent check to fix it.
Yeah, and if it's not too bad, a lot of times they'll let you buy it back, even though it's totaled, and then you can get like
The salvage license, it's a salvage license, right?
Yeah, or salvage title or something.
Title or what? Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and the only bummer with those salvage titles is they don't insure those the same way.
No. That's when it's like, okay, I'll buy the Jeep back and I'll just turn it into a rock buggy or something.
Right. At that point, it's a trailer princess.
Yep.
That's all you can do.
That's what the Cherokee's going to be, because it's definitely not going to be street legal. There's no way with the super wide axles and the wide tires. I mean, the 40
you never know.
tires.
You might be able to get away with it for a little bit.
I'd have to build these massive fender flares because in New Hampshire, they require you to cover your tires completely.
All you have to do is just kind of like those, Casey's got that issue because he's got to do mud flaps on the back of his Jeep. He just pulls the pin and pulls them out when he's on the trail.
I've seen those too. Or they have those.
You could do that with the fender flares.
I was gonna say they have fender flares. A couple companies, Metal Cloak and one other, I just saw that like you can have the regular fender flares on, and then you can just rip them off when you get to the trail. And it's just like a pin, and there you go.
Yeah. I mean, it might look goofy on, on the streets, but who cares?
Yeah, who cares as long as you can have it good for the trails.
Yeah. And I mean, I'm sure that one's not going to be a daily driver. That one would be the backup in case the JK is down.
Yeah, well, the plan is what I've been looking for is trying to purchase a truck for a daily driver, but I have quite the expensive tastes, and I want a first gen Ford Raptor, the one with the V8 in it.
Oh, dude.
And they've come down in price a lot, but every time I've been looking into it, banks don't want to lend you a whole lot of money on a vehicle that has over 100,000 miles. Either that or
but the Raptors keep their value.
yeah, well, that's what they do, keep their value, and the price is still high on them. I've been looking there around 20 to 35 grand for a first gen right now, which isn't bad, but the bank's like, no, we don't want to loan you money for something that has 160,000 miles and it's still worth this much. And it's just like really dumb. And or they want to do it for such a small amount of terms that your payment's like $700 a month.
Oh yeah,
I can't do that. Like maybe right around high fours, 500. Like I can do that fine, but
you should just do it. Nate over at Dirt Lifestyle, he's got that dually diesel.
Yeah,
something like that.
Yeah,
dude, but those are cheap.
My thing is like that's what my wife was saying. Like, I'll get another truck, and I've just been in love with the Ford Raptor since they came out. I just haven't been able to afford them because they've like 60, 70 grand when they first come out. And
no way, they're way more than that. That's a mortgage payment on those things always. Yeah. Even used. I looked at them one time, even used, like a two-year-old one. I looked at before I got my Jeep.
Yeah.
That thing was still $65,000 pre-owned with, what was it? Was it 30 or 45,000 miles on it?
Yeah, they maintain their value probably almost better than Jeeps do.
It was like Harley. My dad used to work for Harley, and those things, so many vehicles, when you drive them off the lot, they depreciate.
Yep.
But there are those vehicles that don't. Harley used to be one of those. They're not, they kind of still are. But the Raptor definitely is.
Yeah, and the reason I wanted the Raptor is because I want a daily driver that's reliable, and I don't have to worry about if I beat my Jeep on the trails, and I don't have to worry about driving to work on Monday morning. And it's something that it's already modified enough, and it has enough off-road and aftermarket stuff on it that I'm not going to have the itch to want to modify it more right off, because it's already pretty well modded. So I can kind of keep my hands away from it and put that into the Jeep or either Jeep.
Why not just get a used F-150 and then just get those conversion kits?
Because I've seen that, and it takes a lot of time and money to actually convert it the way they have. And like the shocks alone, the Fox shocks that they have on it are like $700-800 just for those. And then you have to buy the wider fenders, and you have to buy the grill, and like there. And then
it's still cheap, man, compared to.
Yeah, and like there's so many things. I actually was looking at the new Raptors, and I didn't realize this. It's pretty neat. They have the upgraded Fox shocks, but they actually have an electric connection to them, and they in real time adjust the suspension or the shocks to be either harder or softer depending on the terrain you're going on.
So like those Terraflex ones, I forgot what the model is.
Yeah,
where you can change it.
Right, but this does it on the fly through the computer system. It senses how rough the
so it's not even one of those things where you just like adjust it as you're going. It just does it on its own.
Yeah, it does it on its own. It's not even a knob you turn or anything. It's just like it senses what kind of terrain it's going on. I'm like, wow, I didn't even know they could do such a thing.
That's pretty rad.
Yeah.
Well, isn't the Ford Bronco got something like that?
I don't know. I keep meaning to look into the Ford Bronco more. Like it looks pretty neat. It looks like a neat.
I pre-ordered one.
Yeah.
but I'm going to cancel my pre-order. Because it was during that time period where the Jeep was giving me problems again, and I was ready to just throw it out there and get rid of it.
All right, let's go.
I mean, I was like,
it
okay.
like $100 to pre-order it or something?
Yeah. And then I was like, looking, Carvana's going to give me $9,500. That'll help drop the price down.
Yeah, you're close to 10 grand right there.
Yeah. But then I was like, do I want that monthly payment? I don't.
Yeah.
All of my vehicles, I've got 3 vehicles. I've got the Wrangler, I've got a Town and Country, and then I've got my old Caravan, which is when I'm working on the Wrangler, I have a vehicle that I can run around with.
Right.
All 3 of them are paid for. So it's like, do I really want, a $400 or $500 or more monthly payment again? It's like, no, I just want my mortgage payment and everything else, is paid.
Yeah, we're paying the wife's Jeep off in October, I think it is. So
that's such a great feeling, man, writing that last check.
Yeah, that's why I'm kind of like, Ford Raptor, because
don't do it
for punishment. Like, I just want a good truck. I really want a truck too, because I'm gonna need one for towing Project Zip Tie there to and from the trail.
Just look at like an F-150 or Cummins Ram or something. That's what I'm kind of looking at doing.
I just don't like the look of them compared to the Raptor. Like, call me stupid, but that's
looks aren't everything. Price is everything.
I have a wine.
Are you going to do some moonlighting?
Yeah, I have a wine taste on a beer budget.
Oh yeah, you do
for sure.
As you get older, that kind of like you start thinking, like, is it really worth it?
I'm a big kid at heart. I see shiny things and want them.
Oh, I'm a raccoon, dude. Yeah, I always tell people shiny things. That's why when I drive down the road, I try to keep a really good distance between me and the next person.
Yeah,
because I'm distracted by everything.
Yeah, me too, big time. My wife's like, stay on the road. I'm like, I am. The road's wide. Those lines are a suggestion.
They'll move.
I got a big Jeep. They'll move out of the way.
Yeah, screw them.
Yeah.
I hope they have insurance.
Yeah, come on.
So, but yeah, no, I was looking at doing like an F-150, but my dad, he has a 2004 Ford Expedition.
Yep.
And he's only got like, I think it was like 102,000 miles on it. Man barely drives it. And
ooh, come on.
Very little rust. There's a couple of things he was talking to me today about fixing on it.
Yeah.
And he's looking at getting an F-250 because he wants to get a big like fifth wheel. So him and my mom, because they're both retired now, they want to travel and do stuff. So that's what he was looking at. I was like, as soon as you're considering getting rid of this, they're not going to give you what you really want in trade because of how old it is. But yeah, it's got low miles with the big V8 in it.
Yep.
I'm like, let me know. I'll probably buy it from you because it can pull, what did he say, up to 7,000 pounds, I think.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
So even if it only pulls, let's say 5,000 pounds, that'll pull, a trailer if I want to throw Night Fury on it and go travel somewhere and take that off because I don't, whatever reason.
Yeah, because you don't want to, like, say you're coming up to visit me here in New Hampshire and you don't want to, like, if you break something, you can just throw your Jeep on the trailer and be like, okay, well, I'll fix it when I get home or something.
Yeah, hopefully next year I'll be able to plan some stuff where I can, because I know I can't go there. Actually, you know what? I probably won't come and visit you until New York straightens itself out. Because when you drive through New York, you actually have to fill out a form to go through the state, or you get ticketed now.
Oh yeah, I heard something about that. I know in like New Hampshire and all the New England states, they have this thing where if you travel within New England, you're okay. But if you go outside of New England and come back in, you have to quarantine for 14 days. So
I'm not going anywhere that I have to deal with those shenanigans.
Yeah.
It's going to be a while. Because I know I had talked with Casey about coming up to the island
and
going off-road with him. And he's like, yeah, just let me know when you're coming. They still haven't opened the border. He got screwed too.
Yeah, he was going to go on a bunch of trips down here.
Yeah, because he was going to go to the Jeep Jamboree. That was the same weekend that what mine was in Idaho.
Yeah.
He surprisingly enough, he said that they refunded him everything, which is awesome.
Oh, that's really good.
Because that one was still going on. Mine got canceled because it was tribal land that they were going to be wheeling on, and there was a conflict with the tribal land plus the casino where the headquarters for the event was going to be. They weren't opening still.
Gotcha.
So
yeah.
I got super lucky, and they're like, "Oh, we're just going to refund you." I'm like, "Good."
Yeah, this whole Corona thing's ruining all my plans this year. I've hardly.
You can't say it. They're going to demonetize you.
Oh, say Corona.
Yeah, no, seriously, a lot of people are getting demonetized about that.
Really?
Yeah, you're gonna have to beep that out.
Yeah, beep the C word.
Whoa.
Yeah, not that C word.
No, that's why I always come up with like, I don't know, the mots. You could just call it because of the mots.
Because of the sickness, we're getting down with the sickness.
Down with it.
Yeah.
So I mean, I really want to travel, but with this whole shenanigans going on right now.
If you say shenanigans again,
I'm gonna piss all lips on. But yeah, it's just hopefully eventually this will be over because I really want to travel. We want to go to the Badlands. I would like to go and do some of the what are the Badge of Honor trails.
Oh, yep.
So I mean, I was originally going to go Jeep the Mac that's happening in October because it got rescheduled due to all the stuff going on.
Right.
And it's still going. It's still scheduled, but so many other things that I had originally wanted to go to this year, they're getting canceled. So I was like, forget it. I'm not even going to reserve, a hotel. I'm not going to do anything. I'm just going to call 2020 a wash and just not even. Because once we get to October, you're starting flu season.
Yeah, well, and because I wanted to go to Crawling for Cops this I think it was this past weekend or the weekend before, but if we travel out of the state now or out of the New England area, I'd have to come back and I'd have to take 14 days off of work and get tested and all this stuff just to go back to work. And I'm like, I'm not going to deal with that.
See, I could get away with that because I work from home for the organization that I work for.
Yeah, so it wouldn't matter for you. You
right.
Come home and just work.
I always joke around with team members when they call in because I work a IT service desk. I'm like, I've been quarantined for over 3 years now because I've been working from home for over 3 years. They laugh and stuff. It's like stuff doesn't bother me like it bothers other people.
Yeah, because you don't have to go out in public.
Right. Well, the other thing is once you hit a certain age, it's like the small things that used to bother you when you were younger.
Yeah, definitely. They
don't bother you because you're like, why should I have a heart attack over nothing?
Yeah, who cares? Who cares what these? A lot of people care what other people think, and you got to get to the mindset where who cares what they think? Do what's good for you.
That's their problem.
Yeah,
that's how I look at it.
100%.
Yeah, but anything else? I mean, I guess I could tell you the plans that I got coming up in the next couple of months.
Yeah, if you want to go over some quick plans, and then we'll wrap up with you telling people where they can find you online, because I think we've been going for like an hour and a half now or something. So.
Oh, really? Oh, man, you're gonna have a lot of editing.
Well, I don't edit much of these, so I just it's mostly kind of raw. Just put it up as it is, but
throw it on the grill, take it off. 2 seconds later, it's still bleeding. It's still moving.
Yep, putting it up. So yeah. Let's hear what do you got coming up?
So right now, the couple of things that I've got coming up are I've got new shocks to install, the new piggyback shocks.
Yeah.
I've got the oil pan. I've got a new drag link because the drag link on mine is the factory one. And I have recently replaced the tie rod with the Terraflex, and the drag link is going to be the Terraflex as well. Yep. You can feel a lot of play in the steering wheel. When you hit the bumps, you can even kind of hear it popping a little bit.
Yeah, so you're like, probably something's going wrong there.
Oh, you can do this, and the thing just flops around underneath there.
Well, it's supposed to flop a little bit. You're supposed to have that play, but you're not supposed to have up and down in the joint play.
Yeah, no, it's really bad. My daughter's 8, and she could probably move it around without any problems.
Yeah, yeah,
It's and you can feel a little bit of the clunk when you're turning too.
yeah. The clunk is probably it moving within itself. It kind
Oh
of
yeah,
hollowing
it's
out.
shot. So along with that, I've got a few other small projects. I've got some lights to wire up, and there's some other stuff. I actually bought a whiteboard, and I got it mounted in my garage. I've got the French cleat walls, which is nice.
Yep.
So I can put stuff on a hanger and move it around. But I got a whiteboard that priority things and then go down the list, and I'm going to start going through those. Now that I've got the GoPro and I can move it around a lot
Yeah, we'll
easier.
start seeing some new videos from you, huh?
Yeah, you're going to start seeing some new stuff. I would really like to still stick with once every 2 weeks, bi-weekly, putting stuff out. And if I can, put a little bit extra stuff out on the channel, I will. But
You got to do what you can manage and what makes you happy. Like if it's making
right.
you miserable to upload every week, don't do what's gonna.
Yeah, I mean, Casey's just, have you seen all the stuff he's been putting out? That
I
man
haven't
doesn't
even been
sleep.
able to watch all of it, but yeah, he's been doing like a couple videos a week.
I think he's got caffeine in his blood just going forward. I don't know how he sleeps because of all the stuff that he's doing. And
I work way too much. Like I get home and I'm like exhausted going to work at either 4 or 5 in the morning, getting home at like 2 or 3 in the afternoon. It's like having to
and
go
the
to
last
bed.
thing you want to do, I mean, you really want to go out to the garage and work on stuff because all you're thinking is like, oh, I've got all this stuff to do. And,
Yeah.
I can make content. It doesn't have to be, Academy Award content, but it's still content to put out there. And then once you've got that stuff all filmed, then you've got to figure out time to edit it. That's why I'm trying to shy away more from the install videos.
Well, and a
and just
lot
make
of
it more
people
raw.
too are worried about quality, but you got to realize quality is subjective. What you may think is complete crap, you put it out there, and people might think it's the greatest video ever. I know I've had some videos that I'm like, I don't like really how this turned out, but let's throw it out there anyway. And it did amazing, and I'm like, how did this do amazing? Like I thought this was going to completely flop. I just put it out there.
I was going to get so many thumbs down. Cisco
I
and
was like,
Ebert
I
are
was
going to
just
show
sick
up.
of this, and yeah, people loved it. One video that kind of surprised me that's grown recently for me is I did a video on how to remove spray paint overspray on like your headlights or any part of your Jeep or something using WD-40 and a Mr. Clean Magic Eraser. And
I haven't watched it.
Yeah, it's one of my older videos. I did it last year or the year before, and it was growing slowly. It wasn't getting that much traction. Then I don't know if like YouTube took off on it or something, but now I'm like at 60,000 views on it. I'm like, where did this come from?
I haven't even looked. It's 2 months ago was the last video I uploaded, and it was just a simple video in regards to the Factor 55 Ultra Link, not the Ultra Hook.
Oh, okay.
I wish I had that kind of money.
Yeah.
So I just like, let's just get something out there. Right. And then after that, I mean, life happens. And it just kept happening and things going on and the Jeep, driving me crazy. So I just put it off to the side. But I definitely want to get into it. I'm hoping to get more off-road videos. In 2 weekends, I'm going to be going up north, actually doing a trail work day.
Nice. Like cleaning up and kind of cutting trail.
So they've got a trail. It's the Embrace Park, off-road park. I can't remember exactly the name of the park. I haven't been there myself. Right. It's also a campground. And they've got some stuff where they need to clean up some brush, but they've also got to put some barriers around some sensitive habitat. So we're going to be doing that. And they're closing the entire trail down that day so that we can work on it safely and not have to worry about vehicles coming through.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And I'm also...
Trail's good.
Yep. October. That's the middle of October. I'm actually going to go for the Trail Ambassador program that they have here.
Oh, that's awesome.
So yeah, it's 2 days worth of training, 2.5 days, I think maybe it was. And what's nice about that is I'll be able to take people out, up to 5 individuals out on the trail. They usually want you to do 2 trail ambassadors, so you technically can take out 10 people.
Yep, yep.
But and then I guess they train with the Blackhawks, and they also train with ground search and rescue. They do some of that stuff. So in case somebody goes missing in the woods.
That's pretty awesome.
Yeah. So I thought that was really cool. I was like, I want to do something instead of just riding on the trails, kind of help. Because there's been a couple of times where I wanted to go out on a trail and I'll put it out there and some people are like, yeah, well, let's go. But you have to have the trail ambassador with you. And those guys, not everybody's going to be available. So if I can set up with somebody else, we pick a couple weekends every summer, or if we decide in winter too, because we can do some of the trails.
Yeah.
Then I can get not only myself out there more, but other people out there more. I can get more off-road content to put up on the channel. And then, being part of that type of, search and rescue to be able to, help and get that kind of training if I'm ever in a weird situation traveling out of state, once all this other stuff blows.
Definitely good things to have.
Yeah. So it's going to be fun. I'm looking forward to that. I think they had one this weekend or next weekend they have one. I can't remember. But I wasn't going to be able to make it because of my current schedule.
Right.
So, yeah, so there's going to be content coming out. It may be slow. It may be fast. I'm probably going to we'll see how it works out. But you can find me at youtube.com/Midwest Jeeper, at Midwest Jeeper on Twitter and also Instagram. And then I've been working on a new website design on MidwestJeeper.com. I've got some blog posts that are going to be going up there. I've got some content that I'm moving from an old website that I'm going to retire. And then I got all my partner information out there. So right now, the YouTube channel is up to 176 subscribers, and I really haven't put much content out there. So I was more blown away that I'm actually up that high already.
Yeah, so people are finding you still, so they definitely want more. So you'll have more videos, and make sure you guys go subscribe to him and check out his channel.
Yep. And the other thing is the owner that I've been talking with for Moose Knuckle, sometime this fall, late summer, early fall, we're looking at doing another giveaway.
That's awesome.
So
I'll have to see if I can get him on the podcast. That'd be cool.
Yeah, I could probably reach out to him for if you want.
Yeah, if you wouldn't mind, send him over my contact information or whatever. And
absolutely.
He's the person to have on the podcast here.
He was telling me about some in the works prototype stuff that they're working on. He's like, I can't tell you, it's top secret. And I'm like, ooh, fancy.
Like,
he's like, I got a couple of things. Once it goes through the testing, he's like, I'm going to send it out to you so you can try it in the real world and give me feedback.
That's awesome.
I know.
Try it before anyone else.
Absolutely. And I'm one of those ones where I'm definitely honest at times.
Sometimes a little bit too much.
Yeah. So, if somebody goes, wow, this guy's a real jerk, it's like, well, this is how I really feel, and I can't be the only one.
Yeah, you're just honest enough to say it, or blunt enough to say it.
So, yeah, no, definitely follow on Instagram because that's where I post the most. I do post on Twitter as well, but I do all of the giveaways that I've been recently on Instagram versus Twitter. So, and I know a lot more people use Instagram than Twitter. Twitter's like, I don't want to say it's dead, but it's kind of getting there. Where
it's got like its own cult following, and like I've been trying to get better at it. That's my one with the least amount of followers at Bearded Jeeper if you want to follow me on Twitter. But
yeah, I think I've only got like 770 followers.
I think that's even more than me. I honestly
really?
Yeah, I'm really slacking with Twitter. Like all my other things have like 3,000-4,000, but like Twitter is just No, and I'm coming close to 5,000 on YouTube.
Oh, are you really?
Yeah, it's been a milestone that I've been trying to get to for a while. 10,000 obviously is an even bigger one, but 5,000 is just like, wow, that many people want to listen to me yammer on the old YouTubes.
I'll be honest with you, man. I'm gonna give you a heavy suggestion on your content. More off-road video content, but do
People love
longer
that.
stuff.
Yeah.
Because some of your videos I've watched, and it's like, man, that's really kind of short. I'd like to see more, off-road stuff.
Well, I
That's
try
what
not to
Casey
make
did
it.
too.
I try not to make them too long too, because there's kind of like a happy medium. Because a lot of people get bored if it's like the same shots and boring and stuff. And
Oh yeah, no, I totally. I used to build websites or develop websites years ago, and they always said, the average person when they would go out to a website, if they can't find their content with that they want within 12 seconds, they're gone. Now I want to say it's underneath 8. I could be even wrong about that because
yeah,
it's been so
you
long.
got to have a good intro that really hooks them, and then stuff
Yep.
that's it's hard too, because sometimes I'll go on some stock trails and it's like, how do I make a stock trail look interesting in a 5-minute video or something like?
You can do it. Just a couple different shots. I mean, I'm trying to get my son and I to more understand what angles people are going to like, what angles am I going to like, because it's going to really show some content. But I like your off-road videos. I just wish there was a little bit more to it. That's all.
Yeah, I really want to do more of those, especially now that I got a better camera and stuff. I'm learning more.
See, your camera scares me with off-road.
Yeah.
That's why I got the GoPro, because, dude, your camera, it's not a cheap camera. If something happens to that thing, because that one's not waterproof, is it? Or water resistant?
No, I use my GoPro for probably half the shots, and probably the camera for the other half when I get out. And yeah, I definitely have to be careful though. Oh, I think my
Your video froze.
my camera's dying. So
no.
well, I think we've been going for almost 2 hours now. So
that's my problem. A talker. Dang it.
We'll have to have you back on the podcast for sure. This will be a really good episode, I think, and it should be released this coming Wednesday. So,
I'll probably, if you want, I can send you some video from my off-road adventure this past weekend.
Yeah, we can put that in.
You can throw it in there. I might send you a couple other bits. You can pop it in wherever you want.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. Well,
I don't know if you've done that. Like I said, I haven't checked out any of your other podcasts, so I don't know if you've got.
Check them out.
I don't know if you got any B-roll for any of that stuff or not.
I don't really have any yet, but it's hasn't been a chance to have any. So.
Well, then let me be the first.
There you go. So I really appreciate you being on the podcast. It turned out to be a really good podcast, and I can't wait for other people to listen to it. And we'll see if they like it.
Yeah, 2 hours later, they're drooling on themselves.
Yeah, if they listen to the whole 2 hours, I'd be impressed. So if you made it to this end, we should make them comment something weird.
Definitely.
Like Moose Knuckle is awesome or something.
Yeah. You know what? If they make it to the end of this video, maybe we'll have to figure out some kind of a giveaway.
Yeah, but then you'll have somebody cheating and like scrubbing to the end.
Oh, I know. But then you know what? This is where you tell people you have to, okay, so what did I say during the podcast? Give them a bunch of questions that they have to go through, like a scavenger hunt.
Yeah, so then they're like scrolling through trying to find it.
But somebody else is going to be like, okay, so it's at this time and this time.
Yeah.
And this is what he said.
I think we should at least have I just want to see who made it to the end and listen to this. So we'll see if anyone made it to the end and is watching this on YouTube, not listening to the podcast. Put the hashtag Moose Knuckle is awesome, and we'll see how many people comment that and see who But only put that if you actually listen through to the end from the beginning, not like skim through it. That's cheating.
Yeah, don't be one of those. Don't be one of those jerks. Please
don't be a cheater. Nobody likes a cheater. All righty. Thank you for being on the podcast again. I really appreciate it.
Yeah. Hey, thanks for having me, and have an awesome weekend, man.
Hey, you too. So that's it. Thanks for listening to the Bearded Jeeper podcast. If you like this episode, make sure you leave a review, leave me some feedback, give me 5 stars on Apple Podcasts or Spotify. And as always, guys, stay bearded, stay jeepin'. I'm out.